I get asked this question a lot. As a scrub, how do you keep motivation to continue when you feel like no matter whom you fight, you get smoked? Been grinding out both Guilty Gear and Grand Blue. This is a very common sentiment, right? Because this happens not only in fighting games, but in a lot of genres. The most important thing, this straight up, is the game should be fun to you when you're playing it, no matter what. Obviously, there are going to be times where that's not the case. But just playing the game should be fun to you. You should have a fun time moving around, doing the things in the game. If it's a shooting game, you should like the way it feels to move and shoot. If it's a story game, you should be interested in the story. If it's a fighting game, you should be interested in just playing the video game. And win or lose, you should be having fun or enjoying yourself because the genre is fun. Like you like the games, and there's lots of ways to approach this. Now, everybody gets smoked at every level. The key is finding happiness while playing the game and working on landing the cool new stuff you're trying or finding your own improvement. If you can lose and be happy, you remember to anti-air or punish a new thing, then you're doing it right. But truly, it's also just about finding the fun in the game, win or lose. I think a lot of people really lose sight of this. They throw themselves at it and they play fighting games because that's what they do, and they're not playing them and having fun or focusing on improvement or whatever. You don't have to focus on improvement to have fun. Some people play fighting games and their only goal is to land the funny thing. And if it doesn't hit, haha, I tried. And like, they don't care about getting better necessarily. They just want to land the funny super. There's a lot of people like that. And finding that is very important. It's probably the most important thing about anything. If you're playing something and not having a good time, if you're straight up just like, this is not fun, I don't enjoy this, you got to get out of there. It's a bad time for you. If you're just playing and you're not having fun, like, why is that? Is it just because you're losing and you don't like losing? Okay, well, you guys know I've been learning this thing, right? This is a great example. I'm not a person who plays on leverless, right? I play on arcade stick. I played on arcade stick for over a decade. I've been learning leverless. Have I been winning as much as normal? No, not only have I been learning leverless, I started playing Strive again after not playing for a long time, learned a new character, Elfel, because she just literally came out. And then I've also been playing Grand Blue, which is a brand new game, brand new controller. So obviously I'm losing way more than normal. Almost every game, something will happen and I will be like, if I was on arcade stick, I would be able to do this thing or finish this combo, anti-air, or like position myself to do this or block this mix up correctly or whatever. And like being on this is an active hindrance. Instead of losing and being like, dude, you are so lucky. If I was on arcade stick, I'm gonna plug in an arcade stick right now. I'm gonna beat your ass. When I first booted up Guilty Gear, I played against somebody who, I've told you guys this, but I don't think I've ever lost them. I definitely had not lost a set, but I'd like never lost a game to them, I don't think. And I played on this thing and they removed me from heaven, kicked me out, and I didn't get to qualify. I was like, well, you know, I don't know how to air dash. I should probably learn how to air dash because I couldn't air dash on this thing. So I learned to air dash and then I could save jump them and I went back to heaven and I won against them to qualify for heaven. And you know how good that felt. That felt so much better than if I was playing on arcade stick and I just went to heaven and then beat that person and then qualified. Not even that I qualified for heaven, but like the fact that I could air dash and save jump them was like, yes, I did it. You guys have been watching Hotashi learn Elfel, right? He goes to heaven, he's playing Elfel, he's vibing. Then he loses to someone and he gets mad and he's like, if I was just on Nago, your ass would be flipping burgers. And he switches to Nago and wins and he feels good about himself, right? Because let's be honest, the feeling of losing and knowing that if you're on a different controller or different character, you would be winning is very hard to get past. But if you want to have like, you know, fun and improvement and happiness, long term, you gotta like put that aside and focus on the good stuff. I get beat up all the time and think to myself, if I was on stick, I probably would have won that. I just instead think, well, what did I drop on this thing that I could have done on stick? All right, like I can't do this instant air, jump this move into that. Okay, let's go practice that in training mode. So that no longer, you know, I don't need to be on stick to do it, right? That happens constantly. It's very easy to let your ego get beat up. And, you know, in this genre, but in most genres, I don't know if you guys watch a lot of video games in general or consume content for any of your hobbies. Generally, most people are grumpy, especially people who truly like engulf themselves in something, right? You know, it sets a precedent that you're supposed to act this way. When people talk about the game League of Legends, no human is ever like, yeah, I play League, like it's really fun. I'm just gaming, whatever. Every person who talks about that game is like, don't play it. It's bad for your soul. No one's happy. I couldn't recommend it. It's worse than drugs. It's like partially a joke, but then it infects everybody to think about and talk about the game that way, you know? And I think about that in regards to fighting games. Like I have fun playing fighting games. I love the genre. It's always interesting to me. It's always what I'm down to focus on and do because fighting games are tight. I try not to be that person who's just like, you know what? I hate fighting games. Anyway, guys, I'm booting up. Now, I'm not saying you can't be upset sometimes. It's normal to get upset. But if you're like 95% of the time upset and 5% of the time happy, then that's not right? That's not the right balance. Even if you're losing, if you're hitting new stuff, then that's dope. And whenever you want to learn in a fighting game, genuinely, like whenever you decide you want to get better, you're going to start losing more. And the reason is you're going to be trying to improve. You're going to be attempting new things, trying new combos, trying new setups, trying to play in a new way that's more consistent. You're changing your play style up so you'll lose more than normal. And because you're losing more than normal, it's easier to be upset or easier to want to snap back to your old way of playing. But you can't. You got to fight the urge. You got to have an internal conversation with yourself and be like, hey, this is for us, right? Like, I'm doing this for you and me, and we got to do this together. We can make it.